the thing is, all the information, all the truth is out there, but people don't feel necessarily compelled to look for it.
I
And
think,
once you start looking for it, you can't look away.
uh,
It's
yeah,
terrifying.
I think a big problem for a lot of people is accepting that and this is going to sound quite strong, but I think accepting that you can or have been radicalized is quite a leap for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because you're effectively leaving your ego over here and saying, I am capable of being brainwashed. I am easily led. I'm impressionable.
Weak will or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's not a comfortable thing to publicly admit, or certainly not to admit to your friends and family, that you may have been led up the garden path by Brexit promotion or by Tory propaganda or whatever, because I can totally see how. So, for example, if I switch it round, if I sit and just read The Guardian for like a week and the Huffington Post, and I'm not exposing myself to other information, I have to accept that my perception of British politics is going to be warped. So there's a responsibility on me there, that I understand that I should be reading things in, I don't know, BBC News and a bit of the Mail Online, and, to try and like temper that bias. But I don't think, and I'm not putting myself or you onto a pedestal, but I don't think most people out there consciously think like that. I think for most people, they just go, oh, what did the Sun say this morning? Oh, it said Keir's a prick. Oh, wicked. Yeah, that'll do. I don't think they
Yeah.
have much interest in balancing it.
Either it's a lack of interest or it's a lack of time and inclination, because they're probably being worked nowadays with an inch of their life. I mean, this is the thing. People don't really realise just how much politics affects every aspect of their lives. Like, you can't walk down the street and buy a pint of milk without politics coming into it. And I think there's also that kind of, not necessarily a conscious serfdom, but it's people thinking, well, those guys, they're educated, they're clever, they're posh, they know what they're doing. Like the way that people might, like the way you get white coat syndrome, where people's heart rate increases in the presence of a doctor because they think on some level that this person is a superior. And I think the same very much applies to politicians. And to the upper classes, because you'll get people, if they're in the presence, who are quite working class in the presence sometimes, of a MP or someone, they'll fawn almost as if they're a celebrity, or they will start pronouncing their T's better,
Yeah.
or that kind of,
I
because they
think,
don't feel like they're on the same level as those people. And it's like those people nowadays are like way down the list. Like they are. There's no integrity anymore. And I wish more people realised that it is for them, because that's their money. That's where their taxpayers' money's going. That's when you get taxed with an inch of your life. Those people are spending it for you. So you need to make sure those people are the right people, and stop just kind of like, getting your opinion from the front page of something, because they've got an agenda.
yeah.
They've got an agenda to sell you. They don't sell papers on the truth. They don't sell papers. They sell, for a time they sold papers by hacking dead kids' voicemails. I mean, you're going to believe what they have to tell you. I
Yeah.
mean,
And a point that you've raised there is a really important one, about this sort of fetishization of posh or like well-spoken people in public life, but also in journalism. I think when people are, for want of a better word, like educated, when they come through Oxbridge and they speak a certain way, I think when you come from a different walk of life, or perhaps you have a different accent, or you grew up on council estates, I think you then sort of misinterpret that, probably because you've been conditioned. So again, it's a kind of type of radicalization. You probably interpret that as, oh, this person's really smart, or this person is, I should listen to this person. But I
yeah,
think what the last 5 or 6 years of government have told us is that actually they may well have come up through Eton and Oxbridge, but they might have studied classics, right? Like Boris Johnson. They might
yeah,
have studied like history. Great. Okay. Big fan of history, but it doesn't make them economists. It doesn't make them super smart or pragmatic or compassionate. And these are all qualities that you need in somebody that's going to lead the fucking country. And you're absolutely right when you say, these are the guys that spend the public money. But what do you do when most of the public look at somebody like that, who is largely, perhaps I'm generalizing a bit, but who most of them do appear to be devoid of compassion. They do have a feeling that they're better than the plebs. And when they do spaff loads of money on, let's say, a test and trace system or COVID fraud, then
or back,
most of the general public go like, well, yeah, but Have you seen that single mum down the end of the, like, how do you fight that?
It was very deliberate.
Yeah.
It's very deliberate manipulation, and like what you were saying about the people that are in charge. When you look at the person that's in charge of our health service nowadays, the health minister, he's a banker, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
He's an ex-banker who has been taught a very valuable lesson by the, not a valuable lesson, but he's learned something from the Conservatives' previous policy, in the sense that when they fuck up, the public pays. Like when the banking crisis happened, instead of going after people that are essentially their friends who might go on to be ministers one day, they inflicted punishing austerity on us when it wasn't our cock up. So they've got kind of like first experience of probably feeling in a position of superiority anyway, and that the rules don't apply to them.